Hi guys! The Diwali holidays are approaching really fast and I'm sure that a ton of you must have already booked your vacations and your tickets to wherever you are going. This is all exciting in itself and I'm sure that in all this excitement at the back of your head you are worried about your plants. I know that I would be, being a plant parent. The thought of leaving our babies alone with no one to look after them or care for them is really scary. Anyway, the good news is that in this video I have gathered all the tips and tricks that I could think of or that I have heard of that could help us in this respect. So let's get started. The first and most obvious thing that you can do is find a plant sitter, a person who will look after your plants in your absence. There are a few things that you need to keep in mind when you assign a plant sitter to look after your plants. I'll quickly run you through these points. You can find someone who is your friend or a relative or a neighbor, anybody who is willing to help you out. Now, ensure that that person is a sensible person, because if he's not, he may do more damage to your plant than good to them. So you have to be very careful about that. If you find a person who is as enthusiastic and a plant lover like you, great for you and you don't need to worry much about your plants. Help this person by giving them specific instructions about your plant's needs. Write it down if possible, it will always be an extra help for them. Add specific details and don't assume that he knows everything about your plants. It's better to give all the information that you can. However, on the other side, don't give them too much unnecessary information, as it may not help and it may only end up annoying them and irritating them. So we don't want to do that. We want to keep them happy. The next thing you can do is group your plants that have the same watering needs together. For example, I would group my oxalis, my eranthemum, my butterfly pea plants together because they are very thirsty plants that need water almost every day. And I would group my calatheas and maranthas separately, as they need water maybe once in 3 to 4 days. I would further keep plants that need water just once a week in another group, and succulents and plants that need lesser water in another group. That's how you can group them, and you can further help your plant sitter by tagging those areas and writing it out for them so that it's very easy, it's visually very easy for them to water your plants correctly. The next thing that you can do is move your plants away from spots where they receive direct sunlight into shady spots. What will happen is the water will evaporate slower and your plant soil will be moister. But do remember this, when you take such measures, you need to keep this in account when you're giving instructions to your friends about the watering needs of your plants. If you don't take all this into account, your friends might end up overwatering your plants with wrong instructions. The next thing that you can do is you can keep your watering can and your buckets ready, filled up with water, so that when the plant sitter comes into your house and sees it for the first time, it's there ready for him to use. It will not only be a thing that he will appreciate, like you've taken some effort to help him out the first time, but it will also help him to water the plants the next time and know how to exactly use, what to use, how much water to use. All that will be clear for him. If your plant sitter cannot come very often to your place, at least have him come once or twice in the span of your absence, at least to check on your plants or to have a look if the plants are doing okay. You can also set up some self-watering systems or some drip irrigation systems, which I will talk about in a few minutes. You can set those systems up and he can just come and check on those systems or refill those systems or just check on them to see if they're working fine or not. If you are really an anxious person and worry a lot about your plants, you can simply ask your plant sitter to click a few pictures every time he's in your house to show you how your plants are doing. And you can do something better is you can ask him to do a video call and have him show you all the plants so you can spot any drying plants or droopy plants or sick plants, plants that are suffering, and give him tips to care for them. If you have plants all over the house, one thing you can do to make it easier for the plant sitter is get them all to one spot and in one space so that it's easier for the person to water them and it's convenient also. Remember one thing, you need to understand the plant sitter, because not everyone will share the same love and enthusiasm for plants that you have. Not everyone has that same excitement about plants. You need to remember that, you need to understand that and treat this person with love. You need to be considerate and don't act entitled. Be kind and remember that they're doing this for you as a favor. On a lighter note, don't forget to get your plant sitter something back from your vacation, some little souvenir or some little token of appreciation to show that you really appreciated what he did and how he cared for your plants. You never know when you might need them again. Now I know that many of you may not have anyone to look after your plants in your absence. So you can use certain systems that I will talk to you about in this section. These systems can help you to save time even when you're not traveling. Before I start talking about these systems, I'll tell you one thing. The first thing you must do is soak all your plants, water them thoroughly till it drips down from the bottom. And the next thing you must do is move them to shadier spots. When you select what system you're going to use to water your plants, just remember to test it out at least 1 week before you actually go out on your vacation, because you need to test it out and see if it's working fine or not. The first one is the water bottle hack. What you can do is poke few holes on the top of the lid so that the water drips off it slowly. Fill this bottle up with water and then poke it into the soil and let it slowly feed your plant while you are away. If you have more space around your plant and your plant does not fill up the pot, you can also keep the bottle upright and poke holes under the bottle instead of on top of the lid. The next one is the wick hack. You can use any soft cotton strings for this. You can also use t-shirt yarn that is made out of cotton or hosiery material. Simply cut it into strings and take a string that is long enough. Now what you can do is fill a container with some water. Put one end of the string in the container and the other end of the string will go into your pot. Place it close to your roots or the stem of the pot, or you can even press it a little bit down into the soil. Now what happens is the string soaks up all the water and it starts feeding your plant. What you need to remember is ensure that the string sits at the bottom of this container, because if it is hanging somewhere in between, the string is not going to feed your plant once the water levels go down. The next one is the water bucket hack. You can take a wide bucket and fill it up with a little water. Then place a few pots in it. This acts like a large self-watering pot. The water is absorbed by the soil medium through the drain holes and it waters your plant from down to the top. If you don't have wide buckets, you can also use your kitchen sink. If you have a kitchen sink or a bathroom sink, just plug the drain hole, fill it up with a few inches of water, keep your pots in there and the pots will soak in water through the drain holes. It will keep your pots watered for at least a week. Keeping such containers or sinks or tubs filled with water for such a long time is having stagnant water lying open, and it can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes, especially mosquitoes that will cause malaria or dengue. So what you can do to discourage these mosquitoes is take hydrogen peroxide. If you're taking 3%, then please add 1 tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide to 1 cup of water and 3 drops of dishwashing liquid soap. Mix the solution, just shake it up a little and spray the top of the water. This will discourage mosquitoes from breeding in your stagnant water. For this one you need a rubber band, something to poke holes in your bag and a plastic bag. Thoroughly water your plant, then place it in a plastic bag like this. Bunch it up at the top and just tie a rubber band to close it up. You have a mini terrarium ready. Now You can see here there are some holes already. You can poke a few holes so that your plant is able to breathe. So there you go, you have a DIY terrarium ready, and this is particularly good for plants that love humidity. This other method is also a very effective one. Use a large tray that is at least 1 inch deep, fill it up with a little bit of water and keep your pots in that tray. Now what you can do is to keep on filling the tray and not let all the water get sucked in by your pots or get evaporated. You fill a huge 2-liter bottle with water. See that the cap is shut tight and place that bottle on this tray as well. Now at the bottom, at the very side of the bottle, make a small hole so that the water keeps on draining onto this tray. But when the level of the water in the tray reaches that hole, the water will stop coming out of that hole. As soon as the pot suck in water, this bottle will replace that water through that hole, again rising the level of the water back to that hole. So this is a very good effective system that you can use. Another thing that you can do is you can mulch your indoor plants. All you have to do is add several inches of mulch so that the moisture will remain in your pot. It will not evaporate easily. You can use pebbles, sticks, leaves, moss or coco peat as mulch. You can also use a moist rag to cover the base of your plant, and then you can cover this up with a plastic bag so it will keep your plant humid and moist. You can also use these water storing crystals, but don't use this alone. You will also have to have another system that will help you to water your plants, because you can't totally rely on these. But these will definitely retain moisture for some time. They are tiny little beads, and when you soak them in water, they become round and full, and they really multiply in size. You can just either put them all around the top of the soil. I wouldn't mix it because then it will be very difficult to separate it from the soil. You also get a lot of Amazon products that will do the job, that will help you water your plants when you're away. Now, I haven't personally used them, but I know a few people who have used them. What I've heard is that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is something that you will have to experiment with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a lot of links for you in the description box below so that you can go and try out something if you don't have the time to do a DIY or to use a hack that I've mentioned before. You will see that on screen I have put, there are some products like the self-watering slow release spikes. These spikes have small tiny knobs that can be adjusted. So it can adjust to how much water you want to drip down into your soil. Now there's a problem that I've heard that arises with this kind of gadget, because it's got one tiny hole. What happens is, as it keeps draining water into the soil, if the water becomes slushy, it starts going deeper and deeper into the soil, and what happens is maybe a tiny pebble can sometimes clog that tiny hole and it will stop leaving water into your plants. So that may happen with this kind of gadget. The next thing that you can use is a slow drip system. If you have a lot of outdoor plants and it's very difficult to put so many bottles and place so many wicks and all that, it's difficult. So the easier way is to make a drip irrigation system that will water your many plants. These systems usually have an automatic timer. So it will not only help you when you are away, it will also probably save time when you are at home, and it's an easier way of watering your plants on time. If you're forgetful or if you're too busy, you sometimes might forget to water your plants. These systems tend to make that easier for you. There are terracotta ones. There are also ones that have a tube connected to it. The other end of the tube has to be put in a water pot and it pulls out the water and sends it up into the plants as well. There are a few more products on Amazon. I won't be able to cover all of them for you. I'll leave the links down below. You can go and check it out. Or you can make one yourself. If you want to see me make a drip irrigation system for you, please do let me know in the comments down below. I will surely try to make a video on that for you. If you are planning to buy this online, you will find kits that water around 10 plants to kits that even water up to 120 plants. So it's quite effective and the prices are quite okay for the work that it does. I really hope that these tips have helped you. Do let us know in the comments down below. Also do let us know if you have any more tips to share with us, something that I haven't covered. It will really help our community. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Also do share this video with your friends. And if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you as a part of our community. Thanks for watching. Stay green till we meet next time.